What's up guys, and Malcolm. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So guys, channel membership is now live. Link is in the description and the first comment. Do check it out. That would really help support the channel. So the results of this year's California Pro, they are now out. And as expected before the show, and also after the prejudging, Regan Grimes is the winner. He came out ahead of Sasan Hiroati. And he is going to be back on the Olympia stage this year in October. So this is overall the fifth pro win for Regan Grimes, and considering the fact that this guy, he has been labeled as an Instagram bodybuilder, so 5 pro wins, that isn't a minor feat. And I have been saying this for almost a couple of years now, especially since his last Olympia appearance, that him being called an Instagram bodybuilder, that just isn't true anymore. And this has become even more true after his 2 showings, which we just saw, first at the New York Pro, and then this Cali Pro victory. They were very impressive, and the man definitely put on some solid size in the past 1 year. Now the question right now is that, will he be able to live up to his own expectations, which is placing top 6 at the Olympia this year, about which he again talked about in the recent episode of the Cutler Cast? Well, I'm gonna say that is still very highly unlikely. That is still a very unrealistic target, because he still has to beat some very big names, some very heavy hitters. And we're not even talking about William Bonac and Brendan Carey to be in that top 6 at the Olympia this year. But coming back to Cali Pro, Regan was clearly in the lead, right from the beginning, all the way till the show end. Now I know, I get this, that this wasn't the best condition from Regan. But the fact is he was just so much bigger. He had so much size on a guy like Sasan Hiroati. And to everyone out there saying that this was a robbery and Sasan deserved to win it based on bad conditioning, then I must say that is just one criteria. The size, the shape, the flow, the aesthetics, they all matter. And Regan won in all of those departments. He was bigger, more shapely, more aesthetic, and the man also had far better flow. Plus he was in a decent enough condition to get that win over Sasan. So, a huge congratulations to Regan and his coach Stefan. So next up we have Toronto Pro lined up from Regan Grimes in about 2 weeks time. And regardless of his victory, here in Cali Pro, the man is well on his way to get his 6th pro win at Toronto Pro this year. So what we are seeing from Sasan Hiroati, that is like a repeat of Andre Deiu from last year. He has now placed runner-up in 3 different shows this year. And the fact is the man has been dieting for quite some time now. Now I do see why so many people out there, they want Sasan to win this show. Because the man has been very consistent in all the shows that he entered, in terms of his conditioning, his grunniness, always coming in dry like a bone, and rock solid. But the fact is, if we consider all the other criteria of the men's open, the man still lacks the size and the width. He got beat by Regan Grimes in both the back shots, and that too by quite some margin, because Regan was just so wide up top, and he had so much width on him. So let's see if Sasan puts an end to his season here. Or maybe he's gonna continue to compete. Because Spain Pro is coming up. And that is another show in which Sasan showed a lot of interest. And that is a very good chance for him to earn his Olympia spot for this year. So Leandro Perez, placing 3rd, beating his fellow countryman, Bruno Santos, who made it to the Olympia stage last year. That proves that Leandro is a better body than Bruno Santos. Much bigger, way more balanced, way more aesthetic, and way more white. So this was overall such an impressive showing by Leandro Perez overall. And honestly, the man had superb conditioning here, which is something that should be very much appreciated, as he got a lot better from the Honor Brazil to California Pro. Now Bruno Santos must be really disappointed here, because the thing is, he came into this show with the aim to win it, and so many people out there, they had him beating Regan Grimes before the show. But the fact is, he was neither the biggest guy, nor he was the most conditioned guy on that stage. He was something in the middle. But this is just the season opener for Bruno. I am very sure that he's gonna continue to compete until he gets that Olympia qualification for this year. So this was Florian Poisson's first show back into the men's open bodybuilding after switching over from classic physique. And the man looked extremely impressive. At one point, it kind of seemed like that he was pushing for that 3rd place finish. But I'm sure many of you guys also noticed that his midsection, his waistline, that wasn't as tight as it was in the past. Now he had the best legs on the stage, without any shadow of a doubt. Possibly one of the best in the entire Pro League right now. His conditioning was also insane. One of the best in this lineup, along with Sasan Hiroati. And his back, that also looked way better than the last time he was in the men's open class. And that looked a lot better than expected. But he kind of got marked down because of his midsection. And he also put up a story to explain what exactly happened with his midsection. But still top 5 in this show. That is a good start for him. So the more you look at Florian's physique that he presented yesterday, the more you realize that he kind of wasted 5 years of his pro career, of his prime time, trying to fit into that classic physique category, where he was never meant to be. He always belonged in the men's open. But that being said, now he's back. And I for one am really looking forward to his next show. If he comes in with a tighter midsection, the man is gonna look awesome. So another worthy mention here is that Brandon Hendrickson, the 3 times men's physique Olympia champion, he just won Miami Pro against a very tough competitor, Andre Deiu, who came back so much better after the New York Pro. So Brandon Hendrickson continues his journey to this year's Olympia stage, which by the way is his comeback after a gap of 1 year. And this time he's gonna try to match the record of 4 Olympia titles by Jeremy Bundea. So Andre Deiu, who is right now working with Stefan as his coach, he brought his all-time best. And honestly, it kind of seemed like that he was gonna knock out the champion here. And the man looked so much more better than his New York Pro appearance. That is how good he looked, especially from the back. But still, Brandon got the nod here. So Andre is doing another show in 1 week time. And he's gonna try his best to win that show and get back to that Olympia stage, which I'm very certain that he will. Now let's take a look at some of the physique updates. So first of all, we have Ramon Stu, the best from Brazil, looking very swole and going very ballistic at 20 weeks out of his 5th consecutive Miss Olympia. I'm gonna say the most important Olympia of his career. So is that the best Ramon has ever looked this far out of the show? Well, in my opinion, definitely. Because every year, he was committed to doing the Arnold, and his body just wasn't getting any kind of rest. No recovery, no detox. So him skipping this year's Arnold, Ohio, that was a big move. And this is supposed to make a massive difference in his overall physique the next time he steps on stage, which is gonna be at the Olympia. And the great thing about Ramon Stu is that he's staying in a very striking range to his classic physique weight cap. Now, we all know Ramon Stu would be a much better bodybuilder if he's allowed to step on the stage with, let's say, an additional of 10 more pounds of solid muscle on his frame. Because he does lose a considerable amount of muscle making that weight, and that results in him losing his pop and the wow factor when he finally makes the weight. So it was an off year for Ramon Stu last time, and just because of that 1 year, a lot of people out there are writing him off and they are sleeping on him, and I think that is going to be a big mistake. The man has got the density, he has got the maturity, he has got the conditioning, especially when he's peaked 100% right, and he looks full blown the way he did back in 2023. He's one of the most dangerous guy, and the biggest change we see in Ramon Stu this year is that he's putting in a lot of effort and energy and time into posing and presentation. Next up, we have a 10 weeks out physique update from Stuart Sutherland, aka Beef Stu. So he's missing from the scene for quite a while now, but he has been working in silence. And one of the biggest critique of Beef Stu, that was not having enough adductors. So this comparison, plus the 10 weeks out update, that kind of shows us that he has gotten a lot bigger, a lot wider, and that is very good condition for someone who is 10 weeks out of his next show. I guess he is doing Tampa Pro, and we already know that Tampa Pro is gonna have a very deep lineup. So Stu must bring his all-time best. So he did multiple shows last year, but the physique that he presented at the New York Pro last year, which was his first show of the season, where he placed 4th, that was his very best. So in 2023, Stu placed 2nd behind Tony Burton at that same show. But this year, the competition in every single show, that keeps on getting better and tougher. And this has a lot to do with the fact that the increase in the prize money, that has made so many of these top guys compete multiple times this year. So this is gonna be a totally different physique once he gets peeled enough and brings out the condition And Stu is one of those guys who most probably is gonna look at his all-time best on his first show of the season. And I'm not just saying that. His past record kind of proves that point. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.